The influx of Chinese EVs into the European market doesn't seem to be slowing down, with more brands and more models making their way. And it gives consumers more options for value-packed and affordable EVs and puts pressure on the old guard to increase their EV offerings and make them more affordable. If they don't, then they may face the same sales pressures as they are here in China. And if you are entering the European market, what's better than a affordable mid-size EV SUV? This is a Leapmotor C10 and it's coming to Europe. I'm Will and this is China Driven. Leapmotor isn't talked about much online outside of China as some other Chinese brands, but since it joined forces with Stellantis, the car group that owns brands like Peugeot, Citroen, Jeep and Maserati, they're eyeing European market entry with the Leap C10 and later worldwide sales. We reviewed the Leap C16, a 3-row SUV with a pocket-friendly punch in terms of features for price. And although it may come to Europe in the future, this C10 is leading the charge. Let's talk money. Now, European prices haven't been released yet. That will come later this year. But in China, there are two versions of the Leap C10, an extended range EV and pure EV version. You can pick up an extended range EV version of the C10 for as little as 135,800 RMB or around $19,000. The top trim level of that extended range EV will set you back 165,800 RMB or around $23,000. For the pure EV versions, you can actually squeeze into one of these for even cheaper, 128,800 RMB, which is just under $18,000, and it goes all the way up to the top of the range, which will set you back 168,800 RMB or around $23,500. Unlike the rest of the EV-only range, the cheapest version is the only one equipped with a smaller 52.9 kilowatt-hour LFP battery with a lower claimed range of 410 kilometers. All of the others are equipped with a larger 69.9 kilowatt-hour LFP pack with a higher claimed range of 530 kilometers. The EREVs all use the same battery across the board, a little 28.4 kilowatt-hour LFP pack, claiming an EV-only range of 210 kilometers. It has a claimed combined range of 1,190 kilometers. All models, EREV and Pure EV, take 30 minutes to charge 30 to 80%. In terms of direct competitors, you have the Netta L and the Deepal S07. Both are mid-size EVs that offer extended range EVs and pure EV versions. There's also some overlap with the pure EV version of the C10 and Arcfox's new T5 SUV. But for me, I like the styling of this one better. I just have to say I'm a fan of this stone grey colour. I think overall it's a clean, safe design. Not too much fuss, but handsome enough. In fact, if you catch it at the right angle, I think it's actually pretty smart looking. So up front, you have this kind of headlight and LED bar combination, a kind of bow tie shape that you'll see across Leapmotor vehicles. You also have this slash down in the lower front fascia with the air ducts tucked away. And also down in the lower middle part, you have the intake for the radiator, and the front end is the same whether it's the extended range EV or the pure EV version. Down the side, I think that the C10 looks more balanced than its larger sibling, the C16, with a belt line that slightly rises and a roof line that slopes ever so just into that body coloured part of the D-pillar. There's actually a blackened part back here which makes it look more raked at the back than it actually is. At the back, you have that huge Leapmotor lettering, the LED tail bar, and you also have an integrated roof spoiler with the hidden window wiper. There's also a slight kind of flick here just to give it a bit more shape on the back end. As far as cargo space for the Leapmotor, it's got a fairly decent sized boot With the rear seats up, it's 370 litres. But if you pop those rear seats down, which is a bit of a stretch from back here, if I'm honest, then you get over 800 litres. Now, Leapmotor say that with all the seats down, you can carry 15 20-inch suitcases. But my question is, if you put the rear seats down, why would two people need 15 carry-on suitcases? Seems like a strange flex. But joking aside, there's plenty of room in the back of the Leap C10. Inside the C10, the interior is very familiar if you've seen our review of the C16. But unlike that car, there is more variation with the equipment on the different trim levels. Now, the C10 and C16's interiors are a departure from other Leapmotor vehicles like the C11 and the C01 sedan, which could be had with a secondary smaller passenger screen. Whereas in here, you get a 14.6-inch 2K touchscreen, the same as the C16. And it's powered on the higher trims by the same Snapdragon 8295P. However, unlike the C16, the lower trim variants of the C10 are powered by an 8155P CPU. You do also get the same 10.25-inch instrument panel as found in the C16. In here, that central touchscreen is running Leapmotor OS again. It's intuitive enough. The only thing is that when you open up the app menu, it is a bit like, oh my God, there's a lot going on in here. And also mixed in amongst the apps, actual car functions like this, which is the self-parking for the car. There are other ways to access it, but it's also just buried in and amongst all of these apps. It's a little bit overwhelming at first. There are things like, a quick customizable shortcut menu here at the top that you get by swiping, and also a customizable toolbar down in the bottom right. You get a 15-watt wireless charger, and also in the higher level trims with the 8295P chip, you get USB-C 60-watt outlets. However, in the lower trims, you only get 15-watt outlets. And also, in those lower trims, there are no USBs in the rear, which in this day and age of personal digital devices, I know that this is a kind of budget-friendly car, but I still think it's stingy. Now, there is optional heat and ventilation for the front seats, as well as a heated steering wheel and ambient lighting. That's part of an upgrade package. That package costs 10,000 RMB, around $1,400, and it also includes upgrading the rims from 18-inch alloys to 20-inch alloys with branded tires. These are Dunlops. God only knows what the unbranded tires are. But I think overseas, all of that equipment is going to be standard. Your only option for music is a 12-speaker surround sound system, unlike the C16 that has the optional 21-speaker surround sound system with Dolby Atmos spatial audio. And if you're a fan of watching movies or listening to music that's made for spatial audio, you might find that a bit of a disappointment. However, this 12-speaker system is good enough. It's punchy and it's clear. As for materials in here, again, like the C16, it's soft touch in all the right places. None of this is real leather, but the seats are super supple and soft. Overall, generally for the price, this interior is pretty nice. And I do actually quite like this modern layout that Leap have gone for in their newer vehicles over, say, the C11. Okay, so in the back of the Leap C10, space back here, surprisingly spacious. Now, first, headroom, a load of headroom. Now, I'm only 1.7 meters, not the tallest person in the world, but even if you're 6 foot, I think you'll be fine sat back here. And for leg space as well, I mean, look, okay, this is me sat behind me, but even if you are 190 centimeters or 6 foot, you still got a lot of space here. You can get your feet underneath the seat in front very easily as well. In terms of features back here, you do have an air outlet with a couple of air vents for each passenger, and because this is a higher level trim, You do get 2 USBs, and that is a 60-watt outlet here. You have a pull-down armrest, but only one large cup holder back here. But apart from that, there's not many functions and features back here. In terms of material, the same as the front. You've got soft touch in all the right places, up here on the door cards and on the handle. You've got some metal touch points, the speaker grille, and also the door release. And the seats, you know, it's not real leather in here, but they are soft and supple, and they are sculpted to the body. And generally, I think you can get into a comfortable position back here. So just like its older brother, the C16, the C10 is only rear-wheel drive. It has the same rear motors as well. So the extended range EVs have 170 kilowatts and 310 Newton meters. And these pure EV versions have 215 kilowatts and 360 Newton meters. That means that this pure EV version of the C10 is the faster of the two. The extended range EV version does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 7.6 seconds, and this one is faster at 7.28. So only a tiny little bit faster. So I talked about in my C16 review that the body roll was a little bit of an issue. You know, when you're going around corners, there was a lot of movement in the body because the suspension was super soft. I'm happy to say that the C10, which is going to Europe, is a lot firmer and body control is much better. So yes, the C10 is stiffer than the C16, and that means that sharp, harsh bumps are going to enter the cabin a bit more than that C16. But I prefer the way that this rides because it feels more planted. Sometimes in the C16, when you go over a big bump at a bit of speed, it almost feels like you kind of jump out of your seat for a little bit. I much more prefer this, feels planted, and just for my personal tastes, I enjoy it more. This is in no way a driving machine, but this more stiff setup in the C10, I think definitely will appeal more to Europeans. And also just gives you a bit more, it gives you a lot more confidence in driving this thing. You'll notice a bit of a difference in the way that the torque builds up in this C10 pure EV version. In eco and comfort mode, the torque build up is kind of more rounded, whereas in sport mode like this, it's far more direct and linear. Gives you a little feel that it's a little sporty, but it isn't really. Unlike the C16, there is no double pane glass in the C10, and as a result, tyre roar definitely is louder in here. It's not super egregious, but you definitely notice it driving the two back to back. In terms of ADAS for Leapmotor, it's a similar story as the C16. You have both vision-based and LiDAR-equipped cars. Now, our version has the 128 LiDAR on the roof. In terms of ADAS functionality, all C10s come with a level 2 system. It's LCC, so it's a combination of lane, keep assist, and adaptive cruise control. It's going to manage your speed while keeping you in lane. And all of the models that have a LiDAR on the roof also come with a highway NOA navigate on autopilot function called NAP in Leapmotor Talk. Later on, Leap say that there will be a city NOA feature. When? I'm not too sure. They say it's in beta testing and it's going to be called NAC. Is the Leapmotor C10 groundbreaking in China? No, not really. It's a reasonably priced mid-size SUV with EREV and pure EV versions, and it's a solid competitor to a couple of other options on the market. But in Europe, I think it's a more interesting proposition. You see, the Leapmotor C10 is kind of like vanilla ice cream, a delicious flavour, but not very exciting or daring. But now imagine that the European EV market is like Europe before Marco Polo brought ice cream back from China. Yeah, vanilla ice cream is starting to sound irresistible.